All right, here we go. What is up, guys? Lynn here with the video for you all. And today we are interviewing Marcus Williams of Tuskegee Heirs.
Hey guys.
Marcus, it has been forever trying to get you up on here. You are a very busy man. I want to thank you right out the gate for making time to do this interview with me today.
Thank
I'm
you.
so
Thank you
excited.
for having me on. I'm elusive sometimes. I've heard that before. But yes, thank you for having me on. It's a pleasure and an honor. So good to be here.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. Okay, so I guess we're gonna go ahead and get started.
Yeah.
So, like the meat and potatoes of this interview. So,
Okay.
we are here today to discuss Tuskegee Heirs,
Right.
and I briefly mentioned to you um, right before we began that I found out about Tuskegee Heirs from one of my gaming buddies, Nia. Her name is
Okay.
the video game her on YouTube. And
Nice.
because I know she likes to read comics, I'm more of a graphic novel person, but I'm like late into the game of comics.
Yep.
But when I found out about Tuskegee Heirs, it's like I was like, oh my gosh, I was like completely intrigued. I was like, all right, so I need to read up on this and
Yep.
find out as much information as I can about it because this is a great movement that you guys have started. And I'm so like giddy. I'm not a kid, but I am so giddy and I'm excited for you guys. So, can you tell us a little bit about who you are and how you got into um, drawing and how Tuskegee Heirs came about?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I've been drawing for as long as I can remember. Like 3 years old is as far as that goes back. The key thing in that origin story is I was not a mutant. I was not blessed with drawing powers. I was not good as a young artist. I was um, rather frustrated. My brother made sure to let me know that I wasn't good back then, and he's like, "Why can't you draw? What it looks like?" And I'm, "Shut up, man! I'm 7 years old. Give me a chance." But what I found out is my passion is not necessarily, whether I'm good or not. It was just bringing my ideas to paper,
Mhm.
and that was what kept me drawing. But even further than that, I didn't know I was a character artist at that age. But characters are what excited me the most, so that's what I drew. Ninja Turtles, Looney Tunes characters, anything, video game characters. Street Fighter was huge when I was a kid. So all of that was character driven. If you can remember the Street Fighter days of old. But what I did was I continued to draw characters. I loved that process. Fast forward, 20 plus years of drawing, and I did actually improve skill wise, and that's where after graduating, I got my first little job with this small company called Cartoon Network. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, it was a very very lucky circumstance where the woman I would end up marrying, her uncle was the art director for Cartoon Network here in Atlanta. So I'm like, you better not be lying. Let's go meet him like right now. And we did. I brought my sketchbook and drove up to his house. Liked my art. I had no professional anything, and sure enough, I was doing freelance work for Powerpuff Girls at the time. They needed to
oh,
catch up
that
on
is
some. Yeah,
amazing.
man. I was like, "What's a Powerpuff Girls and why are their heads so wobbly?" Um, but sure enough, they needed some catch up work, and for their comic at the time. This is back in like 2000, 1999, 2000, time frame. And I worked for them. Best money of my career. It kind of cemented the fact that I wanted to do this as a career. Like I like getting paid for art. It was great. So did freelance. Love that. Fast forward another 10 plus years of freelance. Worked in animation, worked on comics, did a comic called Hero Cats of Stellar City. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's cats being heroes. That actually I did for 3 years, and I started going to comic conventions and vending and just looking at other, artists and how they were making a living. And I looked at every artist that had a line around their table, and I looked at other artists' spread. Like their table was spread out this luscious way. They had all these amazing images and this big backdrop with nothing but posters all and stuff. And I'm like, I don't have any of that. And I literally had no posters. It was just me, my sketchbook, and the comics I was working on. So I looked around. There's an ocean of artists doing all this great work. So I figured, where do I fit? How can I possibly compete alongside, a Marvel artist who's been doing it for 20 years?
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, with all of my conversations there at the conventions, and intimate conversations as well, there was a lot of young Black parents that were trying to get their kids into reading comics. You know what they couldn't find? Young, all ages superhero characters, man, that were Black and or of color. And sure enough, I'm like, I could draw that.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a second. And I started targeting a lot of the Marvel and DC characters. Started doing my research. I'm like, well, they were like, there's not enough superheroes. I'm like, what are you talking about, man? Storm, Bishop, and I just start unloading all of the characters that I knew about, and I called it Young Heroes. So I started just putting some basic stuff together and putting them on the table. People started getting interested, and sure enough, I started posting on social media a little bit more. And fast forward another couple of years, Tuskegee Heirs kind of just came out of a conversation where an elderly gentleman, he was just like, man, listen, you know what you guys need to do? You need to do something with aviation. Kids don't know anything about the history of aviation, and Tuskegee Airmen, they know nothing about it. I'm like, well, I do this thing called Young Heroes. I have been thinking of doing some young Tuskegee Airmen. Would that work? He was like, man, if you do that, lit up like a Christmas tree. My business partner Greg was sitting next to me at the time, and he's looks over and nudges me. He was like, yo, we need to write something up. That, man, that's actually a great idea. And like within a week, we came up with the name, put it in the future. We didn't want to disrespect any of the family, so we're like, how can we do that and pay homage at the same time as tell a story? And so we put it 80 years into the future. We was like, hey man, can we add robots? Yeah, we need to actually have like transforming planes into robots. Yeah, let's do that. Weapons, martial arts, everything that we loved. And sure enough, like it all came together really quickly, the plot and everything. But that's where, Tuskegee Heirs came up, and I dropped one image, and people were like, shut up, take my money. If
Mm-hmm.
this is what you think it is, they're like, do it now. Where's the Kickstarter? So we did the Kickstarter in January, I think January 15th of 2016. And it went 30 days, so February the 15th. And we made the goal for $10,000 initially for the graphic novel, or I think it was for the graphic novel. And we got that in 8 hours. So we were like,
Nice.
what do we do now? So we hit some stretch goals, and the goal even then was to do an animated short of Tuskegee Heirs. So we set that as one of the stretch goals, and we made $74,000 in 30 days. So it was it was bizarre, man. It was like, we were just hoping to make the 10,000. We're like, you think we're gonna make 10,000? I don't know. And sure enough, it was absolutely jaw-dropping, crazy time, but really, reassuring that we had maybe people might like this. So let's go ahead and keep that going. And yeah, that's what we've been working on now. So issues 1 and 2 are available. I'm working on issue 3 now. It's been a while, I know, but I'm no longer just an artist with this. As we've gone to, yeah,
We love it too, guys.
and I'll give it back to you. You ask questions and I'll answer them.
Oh no, you're fine.
Okay.
This is all you.
Okay.
Whatever you feel, that's upon your heart to speak to the world, to the
Okay.
interwebs. Hey, you do,
Right.
you do.
Okay. Well, I guess I can just finish the sentence of saying, I wish I was just an artist with this concept, but that's not the way the world is pushing it. I can't just be an artist because with this book, we're marketing, we're promoting, we're actually creating merchandise and branding this concept, and everyone we've shown it to is like, we need this, and everyone that's got a hold, we sold thousands of books at this point. We've gone to all the big comic shows and done really well, but the animation part is where, to say that you want to move to animation and you want to do it right, like we're not just trying to sell it and then say, hey, good luck. We want to steer it into the homes of families. We want to see it on TV, but in the right way. There is no such thing as a cartoon. If you find one, if you know one, let me know, where there's five young black characters as the main cast. I don't know of any. If there is, let me know. It's the way the industry works is they'll change. If we give this to any studio and we just say, hey, buy it from us, there's like a 100% chance they'll change it from what it
Exactly.
looks like. And that's a weight on our shoulders, which is like, no, we're not looking for that. We're not, and it takes a lot of time on our end to say, how can we brand this and make sure we can drive it right into, whatever distribution, like let's say Netflix,
Hmm.
and drive it to Netflix and say, hey, just like this. So, we've already had some executives from some networks was like, are you guys sold on them all being black? And we're like, yes,
Oh,
yes.
wow.
The main cast, just the main cast,
Mhm.
pilots are, yeah, they're all black. Uh, that kind of thing is real. It's actually one of the questions we're going to continue to hear if we once we start pitching the animation. But that's where the weight of, we have to stay in control to that degree to say it has to be this. We want to tell history the right way. There is no, let's water it down and pretend like this didn't happen.
Mhm.
Just so we can have some entertainment. No, no, no. We want the entertainment, but we want the actual history. So that kind of weight is, I can't just be an artist. I'm a writer along with Greg, my partner. Greg is a writer traditionally, but we co-write the story together. Greg Burnham and I. And I'm an artist, and I'm planning the pages, and I'm coloring the book, and I'm doing the bubbles, and I'm doing the layout for the printer, and we're doing all of these things. So we're now about to be a publishing company.
That's amazing.
Yeah, now to say that though, what does that mean? There's two humans that work on this book, and now we're going to do a publishing company to house not only Tuskegee Heirs, but the other ideas that are coming down the pipeline. So, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So I'm trying to, kick these pages out as often as possible. But we do, as a newly formed publishing company, we're traveling. We have to get these books in front of people in order for us to not have to do another Kickstarter
Hmm.
for printing and all that good stuff. A lot of times, we haven't really touched that money in order to for the Kickstarter. Everything we've been using has been from putting the book in front of people, and then we can do something with the sales, and then just kick that back into the book. We haven't actually touched any of the Kickstarter stuff, so that's been a testament to, like, hey, this is not normal, and we want to keep ourselves in the black doing it that way. So, but it's been a really really good ride, a lot of work. I love it though because I'm free now. I work for myself, and that's hard to say in this industry. There is nobody telling me, hey man, change page number 6. This is our story. This is our baby, our flagship. So we're gonna try to steer it right.
Hmm. Well,
Yes.
I guess that's that one thing they say. If you
Yeah.
love doing, what you're doing, you'll never work a day in your life.
Right.
So, of course, like you said, it is hard work,
It's a lot of
but
work.
you're enjoying what you're doing.
Right.
And this is your vision that's coming to fruition, not someone
Right.
else's.
Correct.
Now, the young characters, now you can tell by reading too, right, by reading the comics, that each one have their own distinct personalities. So did
Hmm.
you model your characters after actual people, like people that you know, family members or whatnot, or
I would say, I mean, the one that has been released, I don't know anybody specifically like those characters. There are some traits that we put in there, like the names of the actual pilots. Um, I have two kids, Genesis and Abel, so those names showed up, as the cast members. So, and then Greg has two children, Ayana and Omar. So two pilots named after his kids. But we didn't want to necessarily mold our children into the book.
Mhm.
But there are some traits here and there that are very similar to our kids. But as far as like Slip is a character that I think is the brainchild of both me and Greg, where we were like, we needed that comic relief,
Mhm.
we needed that firecracker of the team, and like when animation hits, he's gonna possibly be my favorite character. He's
Okay.
going to, yeah. So, but I mean, everybody else, we put functionality into it to make sure it felt like a sibling group.
Mhm.
It was a tight knit group, and they actually do lean on each other. So if something goes wrong with the planes, Omar is a field technician, and he is knowledgeable enough. If there's any kind of history about about the mission, Omar is a huge history buff.
Mhm.
So they lean on him for just information on the actual mission. Genesis is about all of the mission schematics. She loves geography, so she can help on that. Let me see. Yeah, Slip is a weapons expert, so he loves everything about the weaponry and all that good stuff. So Ayana is the leader of the team, and she is absolutely the epitome of a big sister that you
Mhm.
don't want to cross. So, but also she has to be responsible. She has to be aware of everything that's happening with her team. And Abel is going to come on as the newest pilot of the team, and he's kind of the vehicle for the audience. And you reading through the first two, you know that by now. But
Mhm.
he has a history about him. He's kind of like the Steph Curry of the
Mhm.
team. Where he's skilled beyond reasonable explanation because he's the youngest. So, but we're gonna get into all that. Issue three should explain some stuff. So, but yeah, we definitely put personalities that we needed to really move that story in a way. Once everything gets cemented team-wise, they are going to definitely lean on one another in order to progress throughout these missions. So,
Mhm.
mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now the art style. As I was reading through as I was reading through, now the art style kind of puts me in the mind of the Boondocks.
Uh-huh. Is
So
it? Yep.
did that like did that have anything to do with how you drew the characters, and like
I
that
would
is
say
the vibe that I get. It's like it
right.
reminds me of the Boondocks.
What I've had to tell because at one point Greg was a little irritated with that concept, but I said no, you gotta be cognitive of the fact that Boondocks as a series, as an animated series, was the really the only all black cast cartoon that hit that success acclaim kind of bubble uh, in the last like 15, 20 years. There's been other animated shows, Proud Family, things like that had some success, but not like Boondocks. So Boondocks had an action kind of set with it. They did have action and fighting scenes and so forth. So to say that it reminds people of the Boondocks to see young black characters. And I did the style very colorful. I wanted it to feel animated
Mhm.
or anime, kind of. And I
Mhm.
mixed Western comics with that. But the reason I designed it that way, and I can only assume the same Boondocks. What's his name? I can't think of his name right now. I'll
What
pull
the
him up real quick.
Boondocks?
They,
McGruger, Aaron McGruger.
he's a creator.
Okay.
Oh my God, I hadn't said the young man's name in so long. LaShawn Thomas. Thank you.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah,
okay.
LaShawn Thomas was the art
Okay.
style. Was designed by LaShawn Thomas, and I have to do a head nod to Sean, because yeah, I needed to see Boondocks to say, okay, there's a way to draw, you know, animated black characters, and it still look entertaining, interesting. We don't see a lot of all black animated characters a lot in that style, anime and manga style. So that was definitely helpful, but I still try to do something original
Mm-hmm.
in the sense to say, you know, if we do the comic and the cartoon comes around the corner a few years later, it shouldn't feel like a huge departure. You know, there's some Western comics are traditionally full of blacks and darks and this that. I didn't want to do that with these characters. I wanted it to feel animated. So that color and all of that vibrancy was on purpose for that reason to
Mm-hmm.
say when the cartoon shows up, it's going to look very similar to the comic. So that was the style I went through. But Boondocks happened. It was very successful. I didn't want to rip off LaShawn's style, but for people to say, "Hey, this kind of reminds me of that," it's actually a compliment because they were successful with their delivery of that styling. It's a great style. Um, Absolutely recognizable by all of the fans of the show to say, I haven't seen anything that looks anime with black characters, so this is what it reminds me of. And that's natural. It's nothing to be upset about. So, yeah, me and Greg had that talk. I was like, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, if people remember Boondocks because of its success, that's a good thing to be, I guess, pulled in with. I
Mm-hmm.
love Boondocks. This kind of reminds me of that. And it was well drawn. So, yeah.
Now with the transforming
Hmm.
like ships and stuff, well,
Hmm.
ships, planes. Okay.
Yes.
um, are you into Gundam at all?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
I kind of get that vibe too, that you
Absolutely.
are into Gundam.
Yes, absolutely. Love Gundam. Love Gundam Wing. The series Macross was a huge influence. Macross actually had jets that transformed into the robots, but they actually had a second, or I should say a third mode with the legs out and the arms out, and they still had the jet. So I was like, okay, I don't want to copy them exactly either, but absolutely influenced by that. But when it came down to pairing the Tuskegee Airmen, concept with, transforming giant robots, it just dawned on me like that's so dope. It makes perfect sense because you always have in anime, these you got teenagers piloting these death robots,
Mm-hmm.
and not really sure why that's a trend, but I guess that's what happens. Usually it's like, oh, no one else can pilot them except teenagers. All right, cool. So, you get these teens in these giant, weaponized machines. And literally saying, but it's valid now because Tuskegee Airmen were amazing airplane pilots. So it's not a stretch to say, well, what if they're heirs were 80 years into the future from now had some amazing jets that transform into robots, and now you got history linking into that genre of
Mm-hmm.
giant robots and teen pilots and amazing pilots. And why are they amazing? They're following in the footsteps of the legacy of the Tuskegee Airmen. So kids are absolutely not being taught about the Tuskegee Airmen.
Mm-hmm.
So when it goes back to Gundam, you think back to that teenagers, young people driving these robots. The reason they can fly it is they look up to that history. They revere the Tuskegee Airmen, and all of their training comes from the descendant, Colonel Mars, uh, pushing them towards that history, pushing them towards the skill sets, the teamwork, all of those values. So
Mhm.
now everything we needed that anime, Gundam and Macross put in there to say why these pilots are so amazing at a young age, it all kind of fits perfectly without us, stretching it. They're mutants or they're class S or whatever. That's what makes them good. No, they're good because they looked up to their history. So again, not really done before, but it should be. And you don't see a lot of black characters in anime either, especially
Mhm.
not five. So
That's true.
right.
Now, in reading the comics,
Hmm.
I really love the way you guys wrote the
Thank you.
comic, the way you wrote the story. It was very articulate, but at the same time, you can relate to all facets of life, basically. Um, and I like how you guys linked some history in with, the readings. I saw too that you want to incorporate Tuskegee Heirs into schools for kids.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So how can you explain a little bit about that? Like what do you envision with Tuskegee Heirs and children in school? And I want to know too, how
Yeah.
do kids react to you
Oh,
when they see
yeah.
somebody that they can actually
Yeah.
relate to
Yeah.
in a comic?
Um, those are all good questions. As far as how we wanted to actually get into schools, I mean, I have a number of ways. Me personally, and we've talked about it, me and Greg. I want teachers to literally have material. Like we're gonna craft um, actual materials and processes for teachers to literally follow. Like we'll have the resources given to schools eventually, and what is it, AKSs, I believe is what it is, where talking about STEM and science and technology, engineering and math. We can literally craft that and push it in a um, like a I forget the word right now, like a workflow. So a teacher can say, hey guys, we're going to talk about science and technology, and have stuff to pass out to kids, and just form the actual lesson around what Tuskegee Heirs have in their world, robots, and that, like, actually showing the characters, showing the technology, and making a lesson plan out of that isn't hard. It's not hard at all. We can get into any of those fields, the science, technology, engineering, and math, but we're adding history too. So all of that is where we that's not we have my lady is a teacher. She can help write those things up. We've talked to other educators. They're super excited. They're like, oh my God, I would love that in the classroom, and things like that. So that's the goal, I think, for public schools, private schools, actual educators using it with their AKS. Um, Now, beyond that, there is this mobile game thing in my mind. I can't say everything, but all I know is I want that to be a tool.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be entertaining. I want to play this as a game. That's a dream of mine. It's gonna have action. It's gonna be high energy. It's gonna look cool, and you're playing this game. Kids are gonna get a hold of it. But then I want to give that to the educators again, and
Mm-hmm.
have tools for them to say, kids, pick up your tablets in class, and they have this mission where they go and they're playing the game as a class, and then they uncover actual educational properties. History would be great. So now the teacher's using it to guide this action, kind of a tour through history, and the kids in the comic, not really a spoiler, sort of a spoiler. They're going to go all over the world and uncover lesser known history facts for their missions. And that's where I just get super excited to craft that experience. So that's coming down the road. We're going to work on that. And I do travel to elementary schools, middle schools, and
Oh,
high schools. So I've been in front of fourth graders. I've been in front of, middle schoolers and high schoolers. I've been in front of college students. And the good thing is, fourth graders, I think, are special. You know, that elementary area is special to me because it's twofold. They have never, no, I'm sorry, it's threefold. Number one, they've never seen a book with these kind of characters.
Mm-hmm.
So to see all colors, doesn't matter what color classroom, to see every kid, girl and boy, get excited and say, you know, oh my gosh, when is this coming out on Netflix? I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a great question because I want to know. But yes, we're pushing for that. For them to say, man, we love the book. I've gone to my ladies' classroom, fourth graders, numerous times, and they do not forget. They don't forget, you know, who I am. They're just like, it can be 6 months. Oh, hey, that's that artist for Tuskegee Heirs. Hey, Mr. Williams, this, that. And they're genuinely excited. They actually are learning, seeing something new, concept wise. They actually don't know the history. So they're learning something new. And they're
Mm-hmm.
like, what? These are real pilots that they're based on? Yeah. And then the third part is it's rare to see um, I guess, a black man, you know, in their classroom, you know, living an artistic dream, a creative dream, you know, that looks like something they would watch, you know, they would watch it on TV. So I get these wonderful looks. I call it wonderful because, you know, when I catch a kid, you know, they just like kind of go into this like stare like this at me. And then when I look at them, it's like they snap out of it and start smiling because they didn't think I was going to look at them or, you know, interact with them. But they're really like kind of awestruck of, whoa, this is weird. I don't normally get to see, you know, a young black man, you know, in this room talking about all this creative stuff, this really exciting stuff. So, but it's real cute when I'm like, you know, hey, would you watch this? And they just melt and just go into a little smiling fit. So, the funny thing is, it's not too far off with adults either. So adults actually get just as excited, you know, because they haven't seen this concept. Sometimes they don't know about the Tuskegee Heirs. It's weird, and you know, again, they're really excited for us to see this move into animation, see it move into, you know, a worldwide brand. Um, Mostly because even as an adult, in my case, I have if I would have saw anything like this as a young person, it would have blew my mind. I would have drawn it every day. I would have followed it. I would have, you know, collected the books, everything. I would have loved this project if I got a hold of it as a young artist. But it wasn't there. You know, I don't know if you found any. This
No.
kind of stuff didn't exist. So even adults are like, dude, do this,
Mm-hmm.
please. I
Exactly.
want to watch it. Yeah. You know? So that's kind of the thing where kids are a part of the business strategy, and I say it like that to a lot of people because um, just successfully making this project reality is not enough. It is literally getting it in front of real children. They have to see you as a person doing this in order to really be impacted to say, wait, Ma, I saw, and this is a real case, a young girl, middle school. I visited the school. She went home super excited, told her mom. They pulled up the website. The mom ordered the books, but not only that, she shared it with her older son, who is, you know, aspiring to be an artist. The older son lost his mind. He had followed me. He follows me on Instagram, you know, to the point where now his mom is messaging me on Instagram, telling me how much she appreciates physically coming to her daughter's school because her daughter came home in this, you know, excited fit of just, Ma, you gotta see this, you gotta see this, you know, versus just being, you know, having this on the shelf. And it's good to find it on the shelf. We have it in some comic stores, but like I said, kids need to see a real person in
Mm-hmm.
order for that life, that real change to say, but I saw someone doing this. He looked like me, you know, and he was telling me that I could do the same thing. That kind of thing has to be a part of the business plan
Mm-hmm.
because we're trying to encourage. young people not only to live your dreams, follow your dreams, but look up to your history. Find, where you come from is amazing. It's not, they're cutting all of these pieces out of history systematically, and that's a really really sad part, and it's infuriating once you understand why. We won't get into all that, but yeah, you can kill that out just by showing up to a classroom. And I do that as often as I can. I've done all these tours around Gwinnett County and Atlanta, the schools and stuff. And I can, if anyone's interested, and they're watching, Skype works incredibly well. If you're out of state and you're over here and that, kids love just being able to ask questions.
Mhm.
We've had kids say, well, why do the kids have to deal with the evil robots? Isn't there a police force? And I'm like, that's a great question. No one's asked that yet. So thank you. And these are little kids, just really thinking about the story. So, yeah, we do Skype visits, all that good stuff. So by all means, if you guys are interested, we will show up on Skype if you need to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I know this might be a silly question. I don't know. Do you foresee a video game transpiring from Tuskegee Heirs? Like
Yes, I do.
I'm on the Switch as an indie developer, something.
Um, I do. I use this as kind of like a guide. I use this analogy or this template. I say the Star Wars template is actually what I want to happen for Tuskegee Heirs. And as big, I know Star Wars is huge. They've been out forever, but what I look at that in comparison as is that was masterful marketing and branding. Once you define a fan base, you literally just give them what they want. Kids wanted toys. I wanted a lightsaber as a kid. I wanted all the toys. I wanted to touch the Millennium Falcon. I wanted all of those things, available.
Mhm.
I wanted a T-shirt. I wanted a backpack. I wanted a hat, socks, whatever I can get my hands on. So branding wise, when the video games came out and things like that, hold on, son, hold on, not right now. That's where I use them as a business model to say you look to the people that have done it best. And Tuskegee Airs can go on any brand, anything, hats, socks, shower curtains,
Mhm.
backpack, video games, movies, you name it. There's nothing this brand can't fit on because it's an all ages brand. It's approachable by all ages. And I use that model. So when you say, do I see a video game? I have dreams of these things. So I've seen them vividly. And yes, yes, yes. I want to see and control the robots. I want to fly those missions. I want to have that, interaction. I played a lot of, flying games. I love flying. I played a lot of flying games over
Mhm.
the years as a, gamer. And it's like I know I can create that experience. Just get me in the driver's seat. Listen, we got some good stuff coming out, and there's layers to it. And that's another thing as a director now. Um, I want to incorporate those layers. Of course, there's fun. Of course, there's action. There's adventure. But to create an experience around martial arts, um, the history of the Tuskegee Airmen, worldwide travel, really like getting to know those robots, and those are things we have it in the story. It's coming, but the intricacies of that and putting it in a game,
Mhm.
mind blowing. It's like, I cannot wait. I'm gonna be giddy when I get a team of developers saying, "So, what do you want this to do now?" I'm like, "Ooh, hold on now." It's like, so, absolutely. No, I see it on consoles. I see it on mobile gaming apps, like I talked about earlier. It can go on anything. The experience is wide open, and there's some great, giant robot games out there. Titanfall is
Uh-huh.
these wonderful experiences. That's like hyper realistic, so we may not go that realistic. We'll see. We'll see
Mhm.
once we get there. Once we cross that bridge. So
Now,
yes,
I know you briefly mentioned Netflix as well.
yes.
Now, I got excited when you mentioned that. because I'm always on Netflix.
There you
So
go.
now, have there been, like, I know you said you had a 5-year goal in
Yeah.
reference to, like, that's part of your, I guess, your 5-year goal is to have an animated series on Netflix.
Yes.
So, and I know that it's terribly expensive to create these
Yeah.
animated shorts.
Very
So,
much. Yes.
has there been any headway or whatnot in reference to you approaching Netflix and getting Tuskegee Heirs on Netflix?
Yes. I can say simply yes. There has been. There it's a expensive process, and it is a difficult kind of route if you have no one that has a leg into that doorway.
Mm-hmm.
So I can honestly say, just confidently say, yes, we've had some headway. It has definitely been positive. Frustrating at the same time, along trying to figure out the reality of just getting to them as a company. But confidence has never been the issue. It's like all we have to do is get it in front of them. So we're actively working towards that pitch meeting, getting everything in front of them. So, but yes, headway, absolutely.
Okay.
We've talked to a lot of like talent, like voiceover talent, um, which is the weird thing. Ever since we did the Kickstarter, we had people reaching out saying, "Hey, man, if you guys want voiceovers, give me a call when this is ready for animation." And I'm like, actual actors and stuff.
That
We're
is
like,
so cool.
"Word? Cool. All right then. Yeah, when we get there, your name is in the pot." So, yeah, there's been a lot of good movement towards that. It's been really exciting. Last couple of weeks is what I'll say. So, don't want to, jinx anything. But yes, we are making some headway, definitely.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I was talking to another one of my friends the other night, and I was telling her that, I was so excited. Like, after I read the comics and, reaching out to you to see if you wouldn't mind doing an interview. I'm like,
Yeah.
thinking back to the children, because the children are, in fact, our future. I mean, that's just how it is, song or not. The kids is what is going to make the world what it is in the future. So
Right.
you are influencing kids across the world, basically, and you may never know
Yeah.
who all you've influenced or who all you're going to influence down the road. And I feel that things like this is extremely important,
Thank you.
because kids don't see this. You
Right.
do not see yourself depicted
Right.
into comics in a positive light
Right.
or anything like that. And to see, how passionate you guys are about teaching children about,
Book.
I guess you could say, their heritage,
Yes.
about the history, and for them to be able to relate to the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that is amazing. That is truly amazing, and I commend you guys definitely, wholeheartedly, for what you are doing.
Thank
I
you.
mean, this
Thank you.
is just it's amazing. I just can't stress that enough. Uh,
Appreciate you.
the impact that you're
Appreciate
making on kids,
Right.
and to me, if I had things like this when I was growing up,
Yeah.
there's no telling where I would be today. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
again, this gets your imaginations going.
Yeah.
I could do this, I could do that. When I get older, I'm going to do this.
Right.
So, and there's no roadblocks, and they don't have anyone to basically, or they don't have that vision of I can't. They have that vision of I can.
Right.
And so,
And
this, it transcends far further than just a comic book.
yes, yes, and that's where the responsibility part comes in. It's like um if we just hand it over to someone else and hope that they get that right, then that's failure
Mhm.
in my mind. because it's not about we got to control, nobody else touch it. No, no, no. It's not. That's not what it is. It's just there is that responsibility to say if there's any legacy that we can leave with this book, it should be that one, which is we can work with anyone as long as everyone on the team understands that. So, oh, hold on, let me plug up my phone. I'm getting a low battery rate.
Okay.
But no, that's absolutely the part where that responsibility comes in, and we're like, we can't kind of lightfoot walk around that. That's the part where we have to take charge. We have to
Mhm.
be, the leaders of that consistency. So every episode we scrutinize. I mean, no one understands how much we put. We're thinking deeply about the story. We're thinking about the actual implications. The intricate interactions and stuff. Colonel Mars and Natasha and is so much that's going to be, kind of onion skinned as we move forward. And I cannot wait for the animation because that's where we'll have time. With the comic book, let me see it. Hold on. With the comic book, we have to truncate so much of the story. I'm sorry. There we go. Okay, I got it plugged in. Okay, I'm plugged in. So yeah, we have to truncate so much of the storyline because we only have so many pages. They're both 29 pages story wise,
Mhm.
um, and that sounds like a lot. A normal comic is about 22, 25, um, or 26, one of those. Um, but I was like, I need more room. I need a little bit more room. I got to show the robot transforming. I got to do this fight scene, and even with that, it wasn't enough to get everything we wanted to get into the first issue. And we knew we have those parameters. We only have this many pages. That has to be there. But in the cartoon, we're like, no, that first issue, spoiler warning for both. Once Abel shows up, he meets the team. We wanted him to go into the barracks, see where his room was. Hey man, this is where you're gonna be sleeping. This is Slip's room. This is my room. This is this room, and and have that whole initial interaction so Abel can see, wow, these guys must have been together for a while. This is like a family, and Abel is not coming from that kind of dynamic. So but we're like, there's not enough room. We would need like a page or two for that, and we're just like, can't do it. All right. So next morning, that kind of thing. And so when we get to that space where we can really, really stretch our arms, storytelling wise, um, that's gonna be another giddy moment. We're like, all that sweet interaction and the joking and the team building stuff. Avatar: Last Airbender.
Mm.
That wonderful, you know, uh, relationship building that led the actual team from step to step. Eventually, you started watching that show because of the interactions. You were like, I know what Aang is gonna do. I know what Sokka's gonna do. I know what these characters. You've come to understand them, and then they started growing and
Mhm.
blossoming into more. And you're like, what? You love that. That's what I'm a huge fan of the Airbender cartoon, not the movie. No one ever watched the movie. But that's where that influence storytelling wise, we're like, man, that was great. Let's see if we can incorporate that team growth into our story. So yeah, it's a lot of that. Once we get to those points, like I said, we can really stretch our legs and say, no, we have room. We have room now. 20 minutes or 22-minute episodes. Yeah, we're
Mhm.
definitely gonna put it in there. So, but it's that responsibility of saying it's okay to tell a story about five black pilots, but it's still for everyone. It's okay to do that. They do it in entertainment all the time with the reverse, and we only get one token character, and that's what we've been kind of brainwashed into saying. Well, we got that one, yeah, and
Mhm.
I guess feeling. that's some sort of accomplishment. But there's 5 white characters and one token. And no one complains and says, oh, this must be for white people only. We've been literally conditioned to say, well, this is a good show. I love this show. There's nothing wrong with this lineup. But as soon as we do the reverse, 5 young black characters, oh, this must be for blacks. No, it's for anyone who likes history, action, sci-fi, adventure, and just a good story. We're trying to tell a story. They just so happen to be black. We have to change that in young people's minds now, and it has to be as early as we can get it in front of them,
Mm-hmm.
because if not, they're gonna just follow the same trend. As a young artist, I didn't draw black characters. I drew what I saw. Ninja Turtles, they were green, but no black characters. I didn't have, a list of black characters that I was creating out of my mind, saying, well, there's no representation, so I'm going to make it. That wasn't even in my head, honestly. So I drew what I saw. I named, these characters. I saw these heroic characters on TV. Star Wars didn't have, everybody wanted to be Luke, or Han Solo. It had, Lando, but still, you wanted to be the Jedi. So um, that's where they'll follow the same suit. Cartoon Network is we got Cyborg, and I asked the kids, who know who Cyborg is, and the kids were like, oh, I know. I was like, what show is that? Teen Titans Go. Cool. Do you know who Nubia is? Anyone? Anyone? Crickets. The whole classroom. And I'm like, okay, do you know who Wonder Woman is? Yeah, I know who Wonder Woman is. Okay, did you know that Nubia is Wonder Woman's black twin sister? And everyone, they're looking at me like, what? What are you talking about? What? And adults don't even know that. There's a lot of adults, people that love
I didn't
comics.
know that.
See what I'm saying? And it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's DC Comics' fault. They created her in 1973, issue 204 of Wonder Woman. Okay? She is Wonder Woman's twin sister, created at the same time, kidnapped by the God of War, brainwashed into hating the Amazons. Once she was freed of the brainwashing, though, she's just as powerful as Diana. She actually almost beat her in the competition for Wonder Woman, but her mom stopped it. It's like, hey, wait, that's your sister. Quit. And they go on to tell that story in I think 2 or 3 issues, and put her on the shelf. And very little people know. They never. She's never had a book, Nubia. Uh,
Wow.
Never had a comic. Never. She's rarely ever been featured in any storyline, in the actual comics and so forth. So that's DC Comics' fault. But I show the image of a young Nubia for my young heroes. I show an image of Nubia and Diana standing back to back that I did that went all over the internet after the movie came out and stuff. I posted that, and a lot of writers got a hold of it, saying, "Hey, can we use your art? We're writing an article about Nubia." I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool. Just link it to me." And sure enough, it went everywhere. But the articles was titled, "Did you know Wonder Woman had a black sister?" And there was a lot of people just ignorant to the fact that Nubia existed. I don't understand. You gotta force a black woman into Wonder Woman's. Why don't you just create? I didn't do it, dude. Here's a link. Yeah, Wikipedia right here. And then got quiet. They were like, oh, so DC created? Yeah, DC created that.
So they're looking at it as you did it.
Yeah, like I was trying to force it or blackwash, Wonder Woman. And I'm like, no, it's DC Comics. They did it. Just put it on the shelf. So that's where this can lead young heroes seeing, young John Stewart,
Mm.
young Storm, young Vixen, young Blue Marvel, Miles Morales, and these are characters that Miles Morales has a comic. He's about to have a movie, be a part of a movie coming up soon, Into the Spider Verse, I think it is. Have you seen the trailer for that? Oh,
Mm-mm.
it's like a 3D animated movie. It's great. They got a little trailer out right now. I think it's Into the Spider Verse, where Miles Morales is the featured Spider Man swinging around the city and stuff, and he takes off his mask, and if you have no idea who Miles Morales is as a young kid, you're missing out. Oh, there's a black kid Spider-Man? This is amazing. Okay. I didn't see that when I was a kid. I love Spider-Man though.
Mm-hmm.
But that's where, yeah, it's like there's so many talented artists, man. And they, especially black, they go to the same conventions I go to, but they don't. I don't understand the lack of just charge to say, of course, it's not all on you, but just throw some out there, man. You're a Marvel artist, you're a DC artist, you are completely capable. Do some stuff for the kids, because the parents want to buy for their kids. They like superheroes. I was a young parent once. Uh, I'm all right. Sort of young, but I did the same thing. I was like, I can't buy over sexualized Storm and hang it up in my daughter's room and say, look, you know, stuff is popping out of her. Yeah, that's, yeah, I want to show something that's, I guess, appropriate
Mm-hmm.
to my 4-year-old daughter and my 3-year-old son. What can I buy? And that list is like real small.
Exactly.
So that's where it's, we had the question, do we feel responsible to, are we obligated to draw black characters? And I don't believe in that. That's not what I'm talking about. But if you are excited about drawing characters, if you love seeing and you know the problem in your actual field that you work in daily, there is little to no representation for young kids to see themselves. If you're working in the industry, you're not obligated, but you were a young black artist at one point. You know, why wouldn't you want to inspire someone else that's up and coming, that's inspired by seeing you physically as an artist? You know, no, you're not obligated. You don't have to, especially if it's, you're forcing yourself to do it. Don't do it if it's that, because it's going to come across. The characters aren't going to be attractive, things like that. Don't do that. But think about that responsibility, put yourself in their shoes and then think twice and say, you know what? I can do a quick warm up. Let me do this for the purpose of a young parent couple that's coming to a convention. It can't do anything but inspire. So
Mm-hmm.
that was my thinking to say, I haven't drawn it before. I can draw it now. I know my skills reach this point. I can draw whatever I think of. Let me do that. So that's where I kind of started pushing my idea. I actually have to do a Young Heroes. Um, there's a couple of characters. I got to do like a Black Manta, um, and a couple other ones. There's a couple, like Aqualad. I don't have a young Aqualad yet, so I'm gonna do that too. So
Look,
cool.
brainstorming,
Right,
brainstorming. That's
hmm
amazing. That is
Yeah,
amazing. Again, I'm like just completely
yeah,
just I love it. I
yeah.
love what you guys are doing. I love you might as well say this is a movement. I love the movement.
It is. It really
Um,
is, though. And it's not just us. There's some other great creators that we absolutely respect, and we get to sit next to them. Dawood from Brother Man Comics, amazing, talent writer. Love his book, man. If you never checked out Brother Man, he has a graphic novel that he's working on solely. Like he's drawing it all by himself. He has a colorist, amazing colorist, but he's been in the comic game since like the 80s.
oh
Uh,
wow.
black and white comics, that he was doing, amazing. Like to this day, you can pick it up, find it online, and see all the work he's pouring into this character. Um, and he was doing this before the internet, so
Wow.
um, but a brilliant talent, man. And he's aware of the lack of representation. He wants to show up to conventions. He wants to show up in families. We go to Harlem every year. He's right there next to us. Amazing talent, man. There's so many that are out there on in the trenches, just
Mhm.
trying to get their book in front of families. So it's not just us. It is a movement for real. Yeah,
That's amazing.
yeah.
So for those who are interested in purchasing Tuskegee Heirs, where can they
hmm
go? I'm gonna link it below, but
Okay.
where can they go?
TuskegeeHeirs.com. It is Tuskegee Heirs, HEIRS.com. We sell the book online. We're self-published. We self-distribute. You can buy both the first and second issue right now. So that's available. I'm working on issue three. Once we get finished with issue three, we're actually going to, merge issue 1 through 3 together, create our first trade paperback graphic novel. So that's for, graphic novel fans out there. We're going to send that to all our Kickstarter fans, get them taken care of because we have 2 graphic novels to complete, 6 issues in total. Um, but yeah, we'll have that available like very, very soon. I'm going to stop sleeping a little bit so we can get that out. That's we got to get that graphic novel out. So yeah, TuskegeeHeirs.com. Go to Facebook. I know if you young folks don't do Facebook. I get it. But we have a fan page there that you can follow. You can get updates on where we are. We're on Instagram and Twitter. Got to do better on updating those. But you can follow those pages as well. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I know I've taken up plenty of your time, and I know that we could probably like continue this for another hour, but I know that you are a very busy man, and I greatly appreciate you coming through and doing this interview. Cool. Yeah, is there anything you want to say before we close?
I think definitely the reasons that have been mentioned here on why we're doing it. Exposure is important. So if you know families, if you know young children that are reading or into reading or need to get into reading, that's the reason we want to spread the information about the book, exposure about its existence. I actually said this today to Greg. I'm like, you realize how many people don't know about this book?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, there's literal millions of people that haven't even heard of it, and we're okay with that, but we're not okay with that. So, just exposure. If you are interested, if you don't read comics, I'm talking to the parents or adults or young people, but you know that it's important for a younger person to see themselves in these non-stereotypical roles. There's no tropes. They're all educated. They're all capable, and they love each other. They actually are going to take care of one another. It's a rare opportunity to put an all ages appropriate book. There's no cursing. There's no language. There's no none of that stuff. You can just put it in front of them and say, now absorb this. Tell me what you learned. Because it's a family book. We want families to get it. Use that. Use that as a reason to go and share it with people, families that that have kids, things like that. We are absolutely doing that in real time. That's why we're at the shows. We can put it on shelves, but that's just getting a customer. We want to actually make fans of what we're trying to, that movement. And we have to kind of do that in person. We have to be able to explain this is what it is. And all people. This is not about just black. This is not just, this kind of book. It's a story for everyone to enjoy. So that would be, I think, my closing statement. I appreciate you. So, yes,
I had like a page and a half of questions. I'm like, I gotta ask him this, I gotta ask him that. You covered everything without me having to even ask you.
Awesome.
That is cool. That is cool. But yeah, like I said, I thank you. Again, this is amazing. What you guys are doing, and I foresee many good things happening for you guys in reference to Tuskegee Heirs and getting this out to the masses and the children and inspiring kids to be more.
Cool.
This is something that you're not gonna see this on like BET or what I mean. This is something.
I'm not against it being on any network.
I mean, like reality.
Yeah.
There's none of that. None of that.
I'm with you. Okay, good.
This is awesome. Not not reality TV.
Gotcha.
So
Gotcha. Yes.
it's really
Cool.
cool that you can actually like I wouldn't feel uncomfortable sitting down and reading this to my niece.
There you go. There you go.
So, and I like that because there are so many, comics and graphic novels where it is geared towards adults, not children.
Yeah.
And that's the
Exactly.
majority of them actually. So,
Right.
like Free
It's
Comic
crazy
Book
because
Day.
it's so many. Yes.
I went to Free Comic Book Day and I'm like, I don't see any comics with people of color. I saw one. There was a black female on the front of the cover. I grabbed that sucker up so quick.
There it is.
Other
I think
than that, I don't see that.
I want to say Michaela. Was it Michaela? I got that one too for my daughter. Yes. Yes, I got that one.
Mm-hmm. You just don't see that. You don't see, I don't know.
And we're working on that too. We're working on that. We got to get the Free Comic Book Day version, something together, and we've been plotting and planning it. So unfortunately, we didn't make it this year to get something out. But no, we're aware that we need to be a part of that lineup, and that's so next year for sure. After the graphic novel, next year is just going to be a big year. I know because we're going to have far more issues of the book out, but a lot of stuff happening in the meantime. So
exactly.
It's gonna be a big year. So we're working on it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, thank you for that.
Thank you. So I guess that'll be it for this video. Where can people find you if they are looking for you?
Yes, Marcus the Visual. Marcus the Visual. And that's THE, Marcus the Visual. You can go to Instagram. I have an Instagram page. You can go to Facebook, the Facebook page, Twitter, and I share most of my stuff on there. I have a Tumblr page, but I kind of neglect it. But I do share stuff to it. I just don't actually. I'm not active on Tumblr, so it's weird. I have followers on Tumblr, and I'm sorry for y'all that are on Tumblr, but I do share all the work there, so at least you get updated stuff. But yeah, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and marcusthevisual.com is my website. So, yes.
All right. I guess that'll be it then for this video. Thank you all for watching. Again, I will leave links down below to where you can find Marcus on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, because I saw that you do drawings too for kids.
Sometimes I'm gonna try to get better with that. I may do a Twitch channel. I keep hearing Twitch or Switch or whatever that is.
I have seen that people would do this on Twitch.
Yeah, and so I'm like, okay, all right, that sounds good. And I just got an iPad, so I'm working on that. So,
awesome.
I'm trying to get that whole video / sketch working thing down. I hate editing video though, cannot stand it. So, if it's just like me live drawing, I think that's where I'm going. So people keep asking questions. So, all that stuff is coming.
All right. And again, I'll leave links in the description. Be sure to follow Marcus. Be sure to support Tuskegee Heirs. Again, it's TuskegeeHeirs.com, HEIRS.
Yes.
There you can go and purchase these comics. Soon, graphic novel at some point down the road.
Yes, it's coming.
Be on the lookout for that Netflix special.
Yes.
We have to speak things into fruition. You got to
speak.
Yes. So I'm speaking these into fruition. We are going to have a Netflix special where you can sit your children down and have them watch nice, wholesome shows that they can relate to. So,
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with all of that. Let's do that.
I'm like really excited. Like I don't even know you. You know what I mean? Like I just met you. I'm like, I could feel it. I could feel the energy, and I'm like extremely excited.
Cool.
Again, for what you guys are doing, and like this is just it's amazing. I mean, I can't stress enough. It's amazing of what you guys are doing, and I greatly commend you all for taking that leap of faith and following your dreams and following your heart. So this is really good.
Appreciate you, and it's my pleasure to be here. Once we get to that special, hopefully I can come back and we can talk again and do that.
No, I'm for it.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
All right. All right, guys. Take care. Be safe. Love one another. And we'll see you all later.
Take care.